Well, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, it's the morning. I don't know if it's good. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. First Sky Omaha in the morning is going down. Time to get on up. Face the music. Get your body moving. Don't punch no holes in the wall. We'll just talk it out. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, what's happening? What's happening? Okay. It's like y'all got up. That's what's up. Wanda Lewis gets good morning. Josh Takes is good morning. At least the wage is going up. Yeah. On a Wednesday. Yeah. Pop says, well, all right. I'm wild about Wonderful Women's Wednesday. Pop's always excited.
Women.
Mama Guy said, good morning, First Guy fam. Brother Valentine gives us a morning fam. Good morning. Mark Manor says, good morning from same Nebraska. Yeah. Yeah. Amy Hutfler says, morning, folks. Good to hear from you. Josh Tate said, good 6:30 set. That Terrace Martin track is grooving. Love me some Hammond B. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
What track is that?
Yeah, check out the 6:30 mix and the 6:30 crew over there on First Sky Omaha Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening. That's what's up. Von Chapman gives us a good morning with some sunshine.
Hey, I haven't seen Brother Von Chapman in the chat for a little while.
Yeah, where you been, Brother Chapman? Appreciate everybody coming on in early this morning. Of course, we got lots to talk about. Special guest, President McKesson, Politicin with P. And Kimara Snipes, what's good in the hood? Right here in same Nebraska.
Man.
Ty Williams gives us a good morning. What's happening? Some sunshine as well. It is supposed to be a little bit warmer today too, so we'll still take it. Just trying to wind on up, man. Get up, get your body moving.
Yeah.
Getting election results as they come in. We like we said before, it's going to take a few days for some of this stuff, but some of this stuff is already writing on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Or in the instance of here in Georgia, there's about 1,000 or so ballots that still won't come out until next week.
Is that right?
Yeah, man. Those absentee ballots that were misplaced, now they have to they won't come in till the 14th.
Misplaced.
Human error.
That's the story of the world. Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners, thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. Yeah, we got special guests coming in. Stay tuned for Precious McKesson and Kimara Snipes. We're definitely going to be talking about the results and all the things that's going on today. Lots going on today. And, of course, it has to do with what just passed, the election. So good morning, Gwen Easter. Good morning to you as well. Also, we have some of the results, but, of course, there's going to be more counting being done, and some of these races won't even be called until the end of the week is what we're hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So. Good morning, Carolyn Jack. Good morning to you. Everybody's up and early, bright and early this morning, ready to talk about what's going on. I'm sure everybody did the good work. And, especially in our group. Our group is pretty active, pretty mobile.
Yeah. Did you go vote yesterday or you early voted?
Early. Went early.
Oh, yeah. I think you went into the commission.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember you saying that. Took my little man to go vote with me yesterday. That was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently they're continuing remote learning and stuff. So he had a digital day,
Okay.
which makes sense, I guess. Now that I think about it, allow the teachers to go vote.
Yeah.
But he had a social studies portion of that class, and they were kind of telling him about America, some of the things, some of the characteristics of America, and voting was a part of it. And I asked him if he wanted to come with me to go voting. He was like, yeah, and he was real excited. So I was happy to kind of expose my little man to voting, early. He was only in like the first grade.
That's what's up, man. All right, keep it in the fam.
Oh yeah, thank you, Amy. Amy Huffless says the pic was cute. Little man is adorable. Thank you.
Right on. Ghost Listener 402 says, hello, everybody. How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining us over there on YouTube. Brooke Allen gives us a good morning. Good morning to you as well. And thanks for joining. Like I said, thanks for joining us very early in the morning. If you're on Facebook, do us a favor, share the show. You know the drill. Share the show so we get as many people talking on here as possible. And if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Bang the dilly, which is hit that bell, I guess, and all that good stuff. Mama God in the house says we needed his vote in Nebraska. What a shame. Yeah,
man. I mean, I asked about the absentee, how that works, but no, we don't want any fraud allegations.
That's all we need. Come knock on the door. But you also got a tough time going over there. Seems like Stacey Abrams is not going to win on your side of the world right now. So.
Yeah, it's looking rough. It's looking rough.
Yeah. She already what do they say, conceded?
She conceded
pretty early on. So yeah. So this is a duplicate of what happened before. This is a duplicate of what happened 4 years ago. Same thing.
2018.
Yeah. Stacey Abrams is great with mobilizing and getting people in seats and getting people mobilized to vote. But couldn't turn that around for herself. But you can't blame her. She in Georgia.
Yeah, doing what you had to do, but yeah. Very interesting.
But shout out to her, man. She makes a big difference out there and just running. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. Gwenny said that's great. Got to teach young early that voting is important.
Definitely,
young.
definitely. Actually, thinking about taking a cue from Sister Snipes and her family again. She talks about how her family has familial elections. Man, going back to the 80s, I think she said, like it's been a while, and I definitely think there are positions. And speaking of Sister Snipes, good morning. But yeah, I think that's interesting. Like there are family positions that people can hold. Like I know we have a family historian in my family. You know what I mean? Those maybe a family treasurer could help. Those types of things.
Big time.
Yeah. Yep, Mama God.
Black Dynamite says, "What up? Hey, how you doing, bro? Good morning to you."
Kimara
Snipes says since 81.
Okay.
Holding elections, home elections. Yeah, it's an interesting process, man. I was when she told me that the first time, I was thinking, what would you vote on? I guess you vote on all kinds of stuff. She gave us some examples of all kinds of things they voted on. I would say for us, it would probably be like where to go on vacation or just and I like that idea of holding some offices, man. Treasurer, we definitely have a family historian that got passed around, so I don't how do they come to that? It's usually just people volunteering, but holding an election for it might be a good idea. You get people buy-in for trying to have the position.
Yeah,
especially if you have a family fund, because if you got a family fund, you can kind of. I know that at one point we had a family fund that paid the person to coordinate the family reunion, and then there was then you put money into the family reunion fund so that everybody can go and all that. So yeah, man, might as well. It's a good lesson in business and in politics, really.
Exactly. And civics, you know what I mean? As a family. I mean, and what's the nation but a family of families?
Very true. Well, welcome again. 7:10, if you believe in the concept of time. It is Wednesday. We're hump day. Everybody's a little bit like, same Nebraska.
Yeah. It does kind of feel blah this morning. The energy is kind of blah.
Well, if we'd have got on and got one win, then it's somewhere.
Not a one.
They're still counting, but yeah, it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good for you should see the Omaha World Herald headlines today. Like,
Oh man, yeah. Yeah. It's heavy. It's heavy.
very
And
bold.
we'll jump into that here in a second. But before that, man, let's just do a personal check, man. How are you feeling personally, Paul? Like how is your energy personally?
As far as mental energy, as far as the race and stuff concerned, I'm fine. Ultimately, none of this stuff matters, bro. It's all about what God got in place for everything,
Hey,
for everybody. So,
God did.
this is all game playing as far as I'm concerned, and also because I don't get caught up in false hopes. I can have hope and be energetic and work and strive and push because for push sake. But I know I live in Nebraska.
Man.
It's a red state, bro. It's a red state. Period. It always has been. One
Same
time,
here in Georgia.
look. One time, a friend of mine who was a young person in her 20s that was helping on these campaigns and was very, very excited and very, very, in belief that she was going to help this person change things over by getting this person in this seat. And I remember us having a little party, and I said something to her. I was like, "Don't get your hopes up too high. This is Nebraska. You know she ain't gonna win, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and as it came out of my mouth, I was like, ooh, yeah, I shouldn't have did that. It crushed her. She started crying, crushed her
What?
whole spirit. Yeah, bro. Like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about that and just keep my head down and keep pushing. But me personally, I know where I'm at. I read chats on Channel 7. So, so to remind myself where I live, bro. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska.
Nebraska.
So, like Mark Manner calls it, same Nebraska.
Man, hey, they say it ain't for everybody. It's for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, we find that to be the funniest state slogan ever, but it's also the truest.
Somebody thought it was true. Somebody thought it represented, what it stood for. So yeah. But that's a good point, man. You got to keep things in perspective. Of course, it's okay to hope for change, but shout out to my man 19 Keys. If you're not familiar with 19 Keys, definitely check him out. Member of the Nation of Islam, kind of a young brother, millennial thought leader, as he calls himself. But he has a good point as far as voting. You know what I mean? It's important. It's not the end all be all though, and especially if we don't have the economic power to back it. If we're just relying on voting and relying, as I said yesterday, you can't just vote people in and expect them to have all the answers and do all the things. Like, we as a people have to organize amongst ourselves, and if we don't come together for economic power, then the vote, whether we get the people in position that we want or not, we won't have the economic power to support them.
Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot too, man. I was thinking about just having economic power and an economic base. You're already in touch with groups of people who are going to be like-minded in your push. In our community, everybody's so all over the place that you wonder how any of these things the message can even get out in the line. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really hard to really, we're missing crucial pieces to the organization of it all. So that's what's up. And like Gwen Easter said, God's still in control.
Oh yeah. Always.
I like Black Dynamite saying, "Doggone, that's sweet." Paying the person to put the family reunion together.
Man.
Yeah, man. And not just paying the person to put the family reunion together, but putting a family reunion fund together. To where you got a bank account where you got stuff going in your checking account, and then couple percentage or a couple bucks comes out for your savings. You can do a couple, a percent or two to come out for the family reunion. Make sure everybody can go. You know what I'm saying? Like build a family fund. And if that fund gets big enough, somebody who's in the family that knows about investing can invest in that fund and start building some generational wealth. So, I've been working on this plan for my family for a minute, and I'm getting closer as of this year because of us following the money and learning some things and so on. So,
I mean, think about it. Why should the Whites and the Sherwoods and all of these have their own family funds? Like, imagine if we had our own family funds in our community, then we wouldn't have to go to them to support our nonprofits.
Ooh, and then some.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just voting. Like, yes, voting is important, but let's not put all our eggs in one basket, y'all. So
7:15, if you believe in the concept of time, buddy, what are some of the things we're going to be talking about today?
Man, well, of course, talking about results, we are talking about voting, but we're also talking about some other things, man. Not just the results locally, but we'll also put in perspective what's happening nationally. A couple seats that were flipped. Some historic wins did happen across the country. Actually, Baltimore got its first African American governor, which is dope. So yeah, I think that's one of now. I believe he becomes the fifth or fourth.
Yeah,
the fourth African American governor in U.S. history. So that's definitely huge. Also, we have our first.
You can't forget about Pinckney Pitchback. He was
yes, Pinckney Pitchback, who was the first African American governor of Louisiana. So yes, a very very short list of African American governors, but it just got a little longer. Also, the first Gen Z congressperson was elected down in Florida, man. So my second home, or I guess third home now. But
Cuban
yeah,
cat.
I'm sorry.
It's a Cuban cat too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely huge. But of course, we're also going to put some things in perspective in regards to our stance and where we are. There may seem like there is a certain lean with us, and it kind of naturally is, but we did want to clarify some things about where we stand. And then also, there is some housekeeping about our community that we have to get into a little later on in the show in regards to how we have conversations on this platform and addressing respect.
Yep.
So that's just a bit of it. But of course, we have our usual guests coming through, Precious McKesson, Politicin with P, and Sister Kimara Snipes, what's good in the hood, who actually says it's worse than blah for the kids. So looking forward to speaking with her and, keep your spirits up, Kimara. Keep your spirits up. But with that, got all that and more, of course, as always. If there's anything on your hearts, your minds that we're not discussing that what you would like to discuss, drop that into the chat. Let your mind be free. And most importantly, let your voice be heard. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all the chat chimers, First Sky Omaha. Let's go.
Let's do it. What up? Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, chat chimers, all of you, ghost listeners, thanks for joining us. If you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show so we can get as many people in the room talking as possible. And also, if you're on YouTube and know how to share the show there, please do and let us know how to do it. That would be great. And also like and subscribe, bang the dilly, like we like to say around here. Hit that bell. There's a lot of people jumping in the chat already. It's going down. Let's see. Ghost listener 402 says, "What about churches, frats, urban league? Talking about urban league. Yeah. Where are these organizations at during these times? What are they doing? Good call. I'd like to ask some questions next time around for sure." Pop says there's 134 shades of red. Nebraska's the deepest shade. Mark Manor says the biggest loss is Dave Pontos, as that really affects people's lives. Klein works for well-off white supremacists only. The biggest positive is that the unicameral should remain filibuster proof, which has kept Nebraska even further out of the dark ages by a thread. Is that true? Did we read something says something about that we won't be filibuster proof?
Yeah, it's a tweet by Paul Hamill.
Okay. So let's explore that a little bit later. Appreciate your comment there, Mark. Josh Tate says slay. Marianne Williams says Gen Z showed up last night. I'm thinking not so much in Nebraska, but changes are there. Yeah. I'm thinking not so much in Nebraska, but big changes happen in states where students were able to register to vote on election day and vote on campus. We haven't really talked about people voting on campus. That's interesting.
That's dope.
Linda in Chicago says, I'm down but not out. Even though it didn't go our way locally, some good things happen in other parts of the country that will affect us all in good ways. Good attitude to have. I appreciate you, Linda in Chicago over there on YouTube. And me thinking of that too. The Senate is still up for grabs. So that's kind of where we are right now. It's kind of neck and neck. Last time we looked. Marianne Williams says we need 17 to filibuster in the legislature. We have 16.
Okay.
Okay.
One away.
One away. So yeah, thanks for everybody. Share, do that. Do what Linda's doing. Share with us how it is you're feeling. What it is you're feeling on these things. Oh, we have 15. Okay. 15. We need 17 to filibuster legislature. Yeah, let us know your experience voting yesterday, if you went yesterday, if you did early, and how you feeling this morning about some of the results that are already coming in. We got results coming in, periodically here, but it's not full. It's not going to be the full counts yet. Excuse me, because of the way that they're counting now. They said it might even be the end of the week before we get like official results on a lot of stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that's so far ahead now that a lot of people are declaring victory already.
Man, just look at this map. If you want to know where we are, look at this map.
Okay.
What did Mark say? The brightest, the deepest red? Was that Pops?
That was Pops.
The deepest red.
Deepest shade of red. Yeah. Ceci Jean says, good morning, First Sky, Omaha family and friends. Marianne, yeah. It's a morning. We don't know how good it is, but we can say good morning. That's
that's all right. Yeah, more so wishing each other a good morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let us know how if you're affected. If you're affected, like I said, I shared with you guys that I'm just like a little bit disappointed, but at the same time, we know where we're at.
It's par for the course.
But I really appreciate everybody's work. You still can't just because you feel that way doesn't mean that you need to stop working or stop pushing.
Oh yeah. Don't lose hope. Don't stop working. Don't put your head down. But just know what it is. And I find it quite interesting that I'm looking at the Douglas County registration counts, 135,000 registered Democrats, and I think Precious is the one who mentioned that. Like, we have more registered Democrats in the state, but yet heavy Republican win.
How many people came out? Is kind of the question. So
yeah, and I would like to get into that with Kimara when we have her on. Again, she is working with the civic engagement table, and you just want to see, regardless of party affiliation, what is the voter turnout, because again, that is a big point. Don't just register, but actually vote.
Yeah. So right now, let's run down like what we know right now.
Yeah. Again, also before we get into that, I do want to know just quickly, or as we go through the show, drop in the chat. Did you make it to the Culture House last night? How was that? How was those things? Yeah. Let us know how that experience was. Again, big shout out to Sister Snipes for putting that together, and Marcy Yates and everybody that was a part of that. So yeah, let us know how that went. But in regards to official results from the Douglas County votedouglascounty.com, they say that actual release of results, let's see, early voting results will come out at 8 p.m. tonight. And then around 11:45 is when all the early voting additional set of election day ballots cast between 2 and 8. All the votes should come in around 11:45 tonight. So as Paul mentioned, we are still waiting. But as we know right now, we'll start with the initiatives, because there are some positives in that, as one of the chat, I forget who said, one of the chat chimers mentioned the wage is going up. And I do want to give a shout out to Brother Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name, because I know he was very instrumental in getting that ballot or that initiative on the ballot, and part of pushing for a minimum wage of $15 per hour. That won't, of course, come into play until 2026, but it is on the way. But at the same time, also voter ID is on the way. So both initiatives 433 and 432 won in the ballot. Of course, support for increasing the minimum wage was strong Tuesday night, having garnered actually 60% of approval. So that's definitely nice to know that a vast majority of the citizenry supports it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Carolyn Jack says, so I guess elections are safe and secure after all. # not a peep. There you
That is
go.
interesting. That is interesting.
Right, right. Yeah, very interesting. So you gotta you have to think about the positives there. There, yeah, they didn't. We thought there was gonna be a lot of action at the
Mhm,
poll site.
mhm, mhm.
That's very true. Not a peep. So I guess they're safe. Elections are safe. There are, if it's Republicans are winning, then then
That part.
everything's going right. So there you go. Linda in Chicago says, I'm hopeful that most races were tight. It wasn't a runaway, and there was no red wave as predicted. We just didn't have enough people to exercise their right. Very good point. They did speak about this big red wave coming, and that seemed to have gotten shut down. Not so much in our state,
Mhm.
but across the country. But even in our state, these races are super tight, especially like Vargas and Bacon, super 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 tight race. And that's encouraging too. When you think about it like that, that's encouraging too. It wasn't like Bacon just swept the floor with Vargas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's obvious that there's people behind Vargas. It's obvious that there's people who want something different. And even though everybody who's registered as a who would vote for Vargas didn't get out there and vote like they're supposed to, it's still the race is tight, and I like that kind of idea, that attitude. Von Chapman in the chat says, no disrespect, but why are those who huddle with the red team called coons? And why would coons feel marginalized and now demand a seat at the table, asking for a friend? Okay.
Okay, okay.
I'm glad you brought that in and brought that up. We're definitely going to talk about this picture that's worth 1,000 words that has been floating around. I posted it in Friends of First Sky Omaha. I figured people were gonna go in on it, but I didn't realize everybody's gonna go in like they did.
Mm.
So definitely something that we definitely need to talk about. But in the scope of the elections and what's going on here, it is true. Like, who's backing? I heard William King yesterday on his show 95.7 The Boss said he's now going to be a Republican.
Mm.
So he's making his declaration that that's what he's going to go do. But really, he just is the kind of cat that he's pretty much an independent. He's pretty much the kind of cat that really wants everybody to kind of get together. He kind of has the same idea we have about voting as a group. Everybody kind of coming together as a group or a party and going for it. So
I think the
and
word
that
he used
really
was a block.
right, right. And okay, okay, you got
Kimura going
okay.
crazy.
We'll bring you on in a minute, Kimra. Thank you very much. But yeah, for sure, we got to yeah, we got Kimara Snipes waiting in the wings to come on in a minute. We'll definitely bring her on in a second. Um, so yeah, there's everybody has ideas on how to really kind of make a big move happen, and everybody kind of got the same idea the way we were seeing things. So it's just kind of a time to kind of get together and talk about those things, and who's backing who and how are they backing? What's the strategy for that? These are all questions that we got that we can ask amongst each other and try to like get together on the same thing, because I think everybody has the same idea. Vote in blocks, vote as groups. Judy Prinzler says now we have to mobilize to make sure folks have IDs to vote. Okay, so the ID thing passed,
Yep.
and apparently everybody thinks that you should have an ID in order to have to go vote, which we know there's a cost to that, which doesn't really make it very fair. So now we have to kind of come up with, like Judy Printer says, come up with initiatives, come up with things that we can help people get get their IDs, so that they can still have a voice. For the people that can't get that, and there's still questions about that too, like how they were talking about indigenous people, they can't use the IDs that they have, so
Mm.
or so there's a lot to have to mobilize on that now. Judy Prinzler is reminding us. Linda in Chicago says Carol Blood had an extremely good showing against all odds. She didn't have near the money or resources that Pillin did. That should give us hope for the future elections.
Mm.
So yeah. So
Optimistic outlook.
optimistic. Yep. So Carol Blood. So they're pretty much saying Pillin got it. That's what AP News and everybody across the country is saying. Ellen Pillin is going to be the next governor.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Sean McCarthy says morning, feeling rather ill today. Thanks, Pillin. Yep.
Pillin got you illin.
Pillin got you illin. Wanda Lewis says, what does that mean for mail-in votes? Yeah. questions about the ID. What does that mean for mail-in votes?
Yeah, the logistics of that is very murky on how that works. Will there be, you know, do you have to send in a copy of your ID? Is that valid? Yeah, a lot of questions on how that will work, but I guess we're gonna have to figure it out because it's coming. It's coming and it's happening. It's a requirement. So definitely have to figure that out. But yeah. I do want to jump into some of the results. I mean, I guess we kind of already know, but I know there's a lot of talk about close races, but one, according to Omaha World Herald, one race that was not close was the Klein-Pantos race, which one of the chat chimers, I believe, Mark Manor, had mentioned is actually one of the biggest losses. Headline is crazy. It says Klein trounces Pantos to remain Douglas County attorney. And there's actually a quote in here that's very interesting to me from Klein. It says, Klein says, obviously, I'm very happy. The voters of Douglas County are smart. They didn't buy into that kind of nonsense. They know how hard we have worked in that office for years. They know that party affiliation doesn't matter when you work hard to keep people safe. It's very pleasing after going through what I went through from State Democratic Party Chairwoman Jane Cleave and her crew. Very satisfying. So, it's very interesting that he says in one breath to know that party affiliation doesn't matter, and then goes on to talk about how the Democrats attacked him or something. I find that very interesting.
I find it interesting. Like I said, he's the only time I've ever seen anybody who changed parties have a party as big as his party was, where every Republican came out, got on TV, and was celebrating him changing to the Republican Party. But he wants to act like that wasn't a factor in him getting elected. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't a factor at all. The people think that you're doing a great job. I mean, I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and again, if you're not sure exactly what he's talking about with Jane Cleave, he's referencing the resolution that said that his decision or his actions in the Gardner case perpetuated white supremacy.
This is the same. Remember, Joaquin Fox protested in front of his house and
For a month.
people for a while. This is the same guy who presided over that, who made those decisions to not arrest Gardner in the killing of James Scurlock. We don't need to go down the list of things to remind everybody what Klein was about. But I can't imagine that his win is not from his changing his party affiliations. I just don't. That doesn't even remotely ring true. That his party affiliation didn't have anything to do with it. Doesn't make any sense. Jumping in the chat real quick, Marianne Williams says the lemonade of voter ID is that now we can raise money for people to get IDs, and they'll have IDs which affects many facets of their lives beyond voting. Trying to find the positive.
I like that.
Sean McCarthy says, and Lauren Boebert is trailing in Colorado. Okay, so we are going to talk about a few races outside of the state. I'm not really familiar with what's going on in Colorado. Sean McCarthy, if you got any background, let us know. Also, let's see. Wanda Lewis says, I was surprised how many people voted against the minimum wage raise. I did. How many people voted against the minimum wage raise? That's interesting. It won. I didn't really look at the results on numbers.
According to Omaha World Herald, it was about a 60-40 split, 60 in favor.
So 40% of the people don't think the minimum wage ought to be raised. Interesting. To a level to $15 an hour that won't even come till
2026, and that's still not enough. I mean, ain't no telling what inflation is going to do in the next 4 years.
Insane. Linda Chicago says IDs to vote only happens because Pricketts and his mom bought their way onto the ballot. Yeah. Please stop buying their pies if you do. I think it's her slush fund to buy her way through Nebraska. Woo.
Yeah, and to that note, again, Omaha World Herald reported Pete Ricketts has spent about $3.8 million in just the last 11 months to influence future state leadership for years to come. And of course, we've already talked about the play that he might be going for as far as Ben Sass, replacing Ben Sass, getting Pillen in the seat. Pillen appoints Ricketts for Ben Sass's seat, and then they together appoint somebody in the get who they want into the University of Nebraska Board of Regents.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Marianne Williams says other good news: the legislative candidate backed by Tony Connor lost.
Okay.
Okay. No, but best defense is good offense. Ghost listener 402. Von Chapman says, does changing party affiliation fix the problem going forward for the autonomy of Black Omaha as suggested by some? Don't know.
I would say no.
I would say no too. I think really if we got to kind of concentrate on this block voting idea is really kind of what to do there. Marianne Williams says businesses do not want increased minimum wage. I bet they
Oh
don't.
yeah, that's understandable.
Like I said, man, we run business too, so it's understandable. It's hard to run business. It's hard to find people for business and find money to pay people. So that's all very understandable. But at the same time, man, if your business is not paying a living wage, then something needs to happen with your business, or get into another business, or do something. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can't just like it's not the same world. I think they feel like those low wages are for like teenagers still living at home and
Mhm,
stuff like that.
mhm.
But the reality of the situation is everybody's working in every job, and sometimes they're working 2 and 3 jobs just to make it because these wages are so low and still not making it.
Yeah. My mentality on that is employee morale is kind of at the top of the list for me. Like if you're gonna make more money if your employees are, kind of can focus on work and not having to worry about paying bills or eating, or you know what I'm saying, just the stresses of life. They're more productive. They can focus, which therefore should make you more money.
Yeah, well, it should. But again, business is tough too, especially now, especially after the pandemic. It's very, very, very true. Kimber is not in the chat, but she's over on the private chat speaking. You got to join us on the regular chat. We
Come
like to
on,
hear.
come to death row.
Come to death row. Come on. Kimber, she says a small business in rural Nebraska, especially, are not in approval. I have organizers in South Sioux who would only talk about 432 in their communities because of the significant push back, even from people of color in their communities.
Mm.
That's weird. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll help you get over to the regular chat for sure. Um, yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting though that there would be people that would push back on that. A small business in rural Nebraska, especially, are not an approval. Yeah, like I said, man, I can imagine that small business in rural Nebraska is having a hard time making money at all, let alone paying people. Paying people a whole lot of money. So I understand that there's going to be some pushback on this for sure, but I think maybe it's because it's being approached the wrong way.
Mm.
We need to talk about economic development in a different way than raising the minimum wage is so small of a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like let's talk about bringing in industries that pay people a living wage in the first place instead of that they can switch from a minimum wage job to a decent paying job. There's more to talk about here than just this one thing. So yeah, it's great. Because if you left, this is the minimum wage thing is from a time when people were just trying to pay you pennies to do nothing,
Mhm.
to do everything. And so, yeah, if you left it up to business owners, they'd be trying to pay you $2 an hour, probably. So I
Yeah.
can see why there needs to be a minimum wage, but at the same time, like is that the only thing we voted on? When it comes to helping people out economically, was minimum wage, the minimum wage issue. That's the only thing that was there to talk about. I think there's way more to talk about than that.
I'm curious to, like, what is your idea of what there is? I agree, but
I'm just saying we should be talking more about bringing industries in that pay a living wage in the first place.
like
So,
identifying the industries.
yeah, there's always going to be low wage jobs out there, and so yes, there needs to be some regulation on on those things. But at the same time, if you look at what we voted on this time around, that's the only thing on the ballot that's talking about economic development in poor communities. Raise the minimum wage, which is not a real solution.
Mhm.
It's going to help a little bit, but not much. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, there's got to be more out there for that. There's got to be more support, more help for businesses to be able to maybe a boost to businesses so they can raise it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Judy Bridger says the minimum wage win is huge. I don't disagree, but even if they change it to $15 an hour tomorrow, it's still not a living wage. So it may be a big win, but it's got to be one part of several different strategies here in order to get people to the place they need to be at. Anyway, Brianna Full gives us a good morning, y'all. Good morning to you as well. Sean McCarthy says the party in power almost always loses. And according to The Guardian, the incumbent party, Dems, had their best midterm performance since 2002, post 9/11 Bush. I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, that big red wave did not happen the way they thought it was going to happen. Marianne Williams says it's hard for businesses, but when people who work full time are dependent on programs like SNAP to survive, it's wrong to pay them so little. Taxpayers are picking up the bill for businesses that don't pay a living wage. Very true.
I just crunched the numbers. At $15 an hour, working about 40 hours a week, you're only making about $2,400 a month. And we know that even the affordable housing, there's one bedroom apartments for like $1,200. It's not enough. It's not. You need to be making 3 times that to even get in the apartment. You're only making 2 at $15 an hour.
There's still some apartments out here that at $600 and $700 a month still. But even at the number that you just said, that's not a third.
Right. That's exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, not enough. And the fact that, and then when I read it and saw that it was going to trickle in until 2026, I was just like, so it's going to be, so anyway,
Again,
big win, but it can't be the whole story.
By 2026, is $15 going to be equivalent to $7 due to inflation? Like,
yeah. Gwen Easter says that with high price of housing going up, there will still be people struggling even with the wages going up. Yeah,
my point exactly.
Very true. Let's go to a quick break and we'll come back. And since we got Kimara Snipes in the wings, let's go ahead and bring her in. Haven't heard from Precious McKesson yet, but we'll bring her in when she comes as well. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Special guest Kimara Snipes. What's good in the hood? You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you with such great attitudes, even though we've had such bad results. With the rough. But thank you for lifting my spirits a little bit with the good attitudes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, right near the beach.
Hey,
that's where I'm trying to be at. Thanks for everybody that's joining us and coming on into the chat here. Vaughn Chapman says, keeping you poor keeps you dependent. Ain't that the truth? Definitely got to do something about that. So that's what's up. Ghost listeners, 402 says, egos of no leaders is probably no one works together. Yeah, man, we're trying to change that. And the person in the neighborhood and the person in the state, in the city that's trying to change stuff and bring people together all the time is Miss Kimara Snipes. Put some respect on her name. Good morning to you. How are you this morning?
Yeah, how you doing, sister?
Good morning. You know what? I will say that I started feeling better once I started watching the show this morning. This morning I was not in the greatest way this morning as I was continuing to watch these numbers. But, I appreciate the positivity that I'm seeing in the chat because we need that. I know I need that. So I'm very, very grateful. If y'all want to call and check on me, absolutely do.
By the way, I just got reminded by Gwen Easter. Brianna Full won.
Hey.
Congratulations to Brianna Full. Congratulations to you, Brianna. If you're on here still listening, it looks like you killed the show. killed the show. Yeah, Carolyn said talk show support group.
Family.
I like that. Talk show support group. Yes, yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, Kimara. I definitely feel feel a little bit better now that the chat chambers have chimed in and helped me see a little bit more of the positive. So that's what's up. Sean McCarthy said was great seeing everyone at the Culture House yesterday. I'm glad you
showed up. Sean, thank you for showing up yesterday.
And I want to say shout out to Waishaw for getting on and narrating a little bit about the day too. I posted that on Friends of First Sky Omaha. She did a nice run through of what was going on. So it sounded like you guys had a good time over there. I was mad I missed it.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be first of many, especially after just experiencing last night, my thoughts this morning. I think that yesterday, my whole thought process with that is something I just feel like really needs to happen going forward. I'm grateful to have organizations like Heartland Worker Center, who Waishao works with, North Omaha Neighborhood Alliance showed up, League of Women Voters, where we can really collaborate intentionally, because the whole point of yesterday was for people to come and to pledge to create an engagement plan. It wasn't even necessarily about the vote, even though yesterday's elections were super important, right? But it was really about the next steps. And so coming down and pledging to create this engagement plan, because we have to engage people. I can't tell you how many people I run into, especially in North and South Omaha, East Omaha, who just don't participate in the process. Right. They just don't. And you can't be mad at them, because I've said it numerous times. It's not their fault. I mean, elected officials, people running for office, all these people are not doing their due diligence with making this accessible, friendly, fun, even. And so even I was listening to Buddy earlier talking about the election things, we have to start young. So I'm still kind of processing, still pulling in numbers. At work, we're looking at numbers around raise the wage, the voter ID, trying to think what our next steps are going to be to address that. But yeah, I just have so many thoughts, so many thoughts.
Well, how do you feel? How are you feeling right now about just like the way that you had, all the work that you put in now and everything that has come from it? Are you feeling any kind of relief that we get a little break right this minute, or are you one of those kinds of people that's like, day after the election, it's time to get back to work?
I can't help but think about when I ran for mayor. That next day I was laying up in my bed, boo-hooing. And Leo Lewis called me. He said, "What you doing?" He said, you got to get up. And that's true. I might for a second have a moment, but this work don't stop. And when I tell my organizers, the organizers were trained at work, this is a marathon. This ain't a race. My parents, other people's parents, grandparents, et cetera, been fighting this fight for a minute. And so we can't, we can, I guess, have expectations for things to change overnight, but is that realistic? No. And so I don't have any expectation that things change overnight, but I do have an expectation that we as community members can find a way to sit down and have intentional conversation about how we collaborate together to support our community to maintain our civic health. That's something we all have to do. I saw the comment about North Omaha leaders. I ain't going to jump off into that, but I do feel like there are a lot of silos, not just in North Omaha, South Omaha as well. And we have to find a way to get outside of our egos, man. Nobody is more important than anybody. Nobody is better than anybody. Nobody, it's not about, attention and being on the news and getting some credit and things like that. There's so much stuff I've done out here that I would never even tell anybody, haven't gotten any credit for, because I don't care, because it's about the work. And we just need more people who are just strictly about the work. And I ain't knocking on nobody or anything like that at all. We got to get outside of ourselves, which is hard to do when society is pouring so much on us, but we still have to find a way to get out of ourselves.
Yep. You can't have community without unity.
Just saying.
And I gotta disagree with you on you not putting yourself out there. I'm now understanding the value of, yes, you're doing the work, but let people know you're doing the work. Let them know, because that's how people are going to engage back with you. If they don't know what you're doing, then they're not thinking of you as a person who's doing the work. Maybe they won't engage in the same way. But put you in particular do so much, and every time I find out something else that you do, I get amazed and it strengthens, you know, my feeling about your commitment to the community. You need to. There is a benefit in letting everybody know that.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we're kind of upset with you, Kimara. Yeah. Why didn't you tell us you was running for MCC board on the show?
I have told y'all that. I mean, but you can't vote for me, but I have told y'all that. My focus was just on so much more.
I found out when I went to saw your name on the ballot. That's when I found out you was running. You didn't tell us. You was over there telling William King, but you didn't tell us.
Yeah, I'm gonna just, full disclosure, right? So I had no plans on running for anything.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying ever again, but after the mayor's race, I needed some time to regroup and figure out what my next steps were. Right. And, I had several people reach out to me because y'all know I'm a truth teller. I'm just going to keep it 100. I had several people reach out to me and they were just basically like, you know what? Ron Hug, we can't just let him just run for this office with nobody running against him. Would you please do it? And at first I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Then I thought about it. I said, you know what? If I got elected to this seat, I'm going to give that my all like I would anything else. Education is important to me. I was an MCC student, never graduated from MCC like a lot of MCC students, and wanted to do something about that. But I told them, I said, look, I have SONA, I have work, I have boards I sit on, I'm traveling. I ain't got time to invest like people really, really need me to. They said, that's fine. We just want you to run. And I did. Now, I didn't win, and that's fine. I also didn't do much to run, and I still got hella votes out here. So that speaks volumes to me, and that spoke a lot to me, period. But no, it wasn't something I was talking about a lot. I was more focused on this ARPA money. I was more focused on what's happening with my South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance over here. I'm more focused on work where I've been elevated so much and taking over organizing and doing all this work that's going to change the community anyway. So I apologize for that.
We're just messing with you.
Yeah, no need.
I don't want to keep going on and on about that particular run, but I do have a very good question coming out of Ghost Listener 402 on YouTube. I do want to dip into this just a little bit. What do MCC results mean for the community? So this position that you was running for, what would that mean for the outside community? Is that really just to govern MCC, or do you see it affecting the broader community?
I mean, it could affect the broader community if you have people who are in these seats who are really stand up and really going to affect some changes. At the end of the day, OPS, MCC, they have duties they're responsible for. Policies and budget is ultimately what it comes down to. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. All these positions, though, with the right people, I don't know what the word is, but if you have somebody in a seat who is really about change, then absolutely it can affect the community. I will say that, they're also typically working with other board members. And so it's not like they can just make decisions by themselves. There's still legislation that has to happen, but with the right people, it can affect the community. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely one thing that stuck with me in college, that they said as a university or any type of institution of learning, if you're not affecting or having a relationship with the community that you're in, then you're not really doing your job as an institution of learning. So I definitely agree with that. But I do like your sentiment on why you didn't, push for it on this show and why you wasn't putting that front. I do agree that the work that you are doing with the Nebraska Civic Engagement Table is more important because, again, the voting and even if we did get all the victories that we wanted today, it's not over. We still have to hold them accountable. We still have to have civic engagement year round to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. It doesn't end here. So it still goes. We still got work to do either way.
Absolutely.
Like Linda in Chicago says, I'm ready to start talking about strategies and how we can have a better outcome next time. If we start now instead of waiting until we are close to voting day, we can make a change. So shout out to Linda for saying that. Yeah,
because we are a solution-based show.
I'm building a team at work for my organizing department, and I'm really grateful to be able to do that because I think I have a unique ability to identify skills and talents in people that will really feed into organizing. And we're going to be very intentional with this. I mean, looking at numbers, looking at data, having real conversations, understanding what the missions of all of our member organizations are, and really just figuring out how we do this. I don't have all the answers right now, but I know I'm an organizer. And I know that with the right people at the table, we can figure this out. And we can have significantly increased voter turnout in East Omaha. But it's not just voting behavior for me. This is something that we have to make cultural. Mm-hmm. We have to make it cultural, period. And if we don't do that, it's not going to happen. And if we're not out here organizing at the ground level, grassroots level, knocking doors and things like that, we're just wasting our time. Period.
Judy Prince in the chat says, we continue to fight for justice with an exclamation point for sure. Ty Williams says, say that again. Get out the ego. Phew, too cute to even speak. Judy Prince is calling you a heroine. That's what's up. Von Chapman is asking, are the graduation rates at MCC similar to the graduation rates at OPS people of color at OPS for people of color?
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat and I saw Kimara and I just was like, huh? Now what's
it's Kimara.
I was looking at Ghost Listener 402 as well. I'm trying to read these comments. So I heard you, but I didn't really hear you.
Okay, so refer. You don't need to read the comments. I'm gonna read them to you. So try. Just think about your answer. Von Chapman is asking, are the graduation rates at MCC similar to the graduation rates at OPS for people of color?
I've never compared them. All I know is there are a lot of students that go to MCC and start school and never get an associate's degree, never go on to get bachelor's degree, based on data I've seen in the past.
I wonder why.
I know I'm one of those kids, so
I wonder why that is. Why is it that?
I don't know, but I would like to know, and that was one of the things I wanted to talk about if I was elected to MCC board. But I don't have to be elected to talk about it.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people out here who can ask these same questions as well. I don't know the answer to that question, Vaughn. I'm pretty sure someone can find out, and I can ask around, but I don't know the answer to that question right now.
Right on. Brother Jazari Kual in the chat. Good morning to you. Haven't seen you in a while. Says the Democrats don't really have competitive primaries here. The Republicans do, and that's working. They're reaching more people. Well, there's more of them, but there's the numbers reflect that there's definitely more of them. We live in a red state, so it's just going to be natural. But I do like the thing we were talking about yesterday when we talked about our numbers are actually bigger than their numbers. If we can get everybody mobilized, then we could really affect some change, even though it seems daunting because the state is red. We still have numbers in order to really battle if we can get people to the polls for sure. Erica Felt says the Republican Party is attractive to those who are uncomfortable with change and things they don't understand. With talking about that too, Deb Neary, it looks like Deb Neary 1 is retaining her seat, and that means Marnie is not coming in. I drove out to the west side for a print to do a print job yesterday and saw so many Marnie signs. I got worried, like, man, everybody's for Marnie out here in a big way. So it looks like that's not the case. And again, we had Republican groups come into First Sky Omaha and really kind of battle because they did not want Deb Neary to continue. And their main argument is that she's pushing LGBTQ agendas, like there is one. So anyway, that's another win as far as I'm concerned is people. Is Marnie not coming in with that? Yeah, the education system. You always remind me about that. About OPS is like its own city, and with its own budget and the whole nine. And like you gotta remember that there's a concerted effort all over the country for Republicans to take over the school system. So, so that's a significant win for us that Deb Neary is staying in the seat, as far as I can see. Anything else that stood out as a win, since we're talking so positively about things, which is really helping everybody's spirit right now based on the results. Anything else positive that stood out to you, Kimara, about this race?
I'm just gonna say that I'm still processing, right? And it seems negative. I saw the question about Tammy Wright with the MCC board. I saw that last night she was doing very well. So I think that she did. For me, it's just about moving forward and what next steps for that. Yesterday at the event, the Culture House, when I was having conversations with people who weren't people who participate in voting. They seem very interested by it. As I was telling people about it, they were like, "Ooh, that makes me want to go vote." So that was exciting for me. And I think that this event that we put together like 2 weeks. Do you hear me? It was very last minute. So I imagine that as we move forward and really organize and plan this, then we can be a lot more effective. But again, it's going to require that really, grassroots organizing game. But once we do that, then we can just find ways to do this. Again, I don't have the answer right now this moment because I'm still processing. But once I get my people and we sit down at this table and really start talking about planning and organizing, it's going to come together. But the key for me, speaking from the lens of Nebraska Civic Engagement Table, is really the collaboration piece amongst our members. Yesterday, when we were at the Culture House, it was a thing of, okay, you want to make a pledge. What do you want to do through that pledge? And our different members, I think, are able to help people answer those questions. And so that's what we're going to do. For right now, over the next couple of weeks, what I'm thinking about is, I don't know if you see my shirt I have on.
I was going to ask you about that.
And on the back it says, "It's about us." You probably can't see it. But what I'm going to do is I ordered all these T-shirts from the brother I was telling you about in Georgia, Buddy, and I have them. And so what I'm going to do is, I think I'm supposed to be off work the next few days, but I think tomorrow I'm just going to post up and maybe here at Scooters, and just going to invite people. You want a shirt, come down here. Let's chat and let me get some information from you so we can connect and talk about just creating an engagement plan. I'll get you connected with one of our member organizations who will keep in contact with you just to make sure we're doing this and just make sure it's continuous. It's small right now, but a bunch of small things add up to big things eventually. So I'm just kind of thinking right now and strategizing. If people have ideas, let me know. But it's going to come down to organizing. I think it's going to come down to, again, now's a great time to go join your neighborhood association. You know what I'm saying? Don't just fuss about all these people getting elected that we don't want. Let's organize. We can do that with neighborhood associations too.
Got some time now.
Yeah.
It's 8:02 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, and we're on with the heroine, Kimara Snipes. Put some respect on her name. Really appreciate you coming on this morning, and I appreciate that you mentioned that you were feeling a little bit low this morning, like we all were, and thanks to the chat chimers, we got it picked up a little bit. Von Chapman in the chat put some data in the chat on the link, so check that out when you got some time and see what's going on over there with MCC. I was working at MCC there at one time too. I'm also a graduate of MCC. I did get my associates at MCC. And so I always try to keep track of what's going on over there. And I do know that there's a lot of efforts to try to, the elder Johnny Rogers has put together scholarships for people. And Brother Tim Clark is over there trying to reach out to the community and get those scholarships in the hands of people in the community.
Yep.
So those are some of the things I know that people are trying to do to reach out and affect the broader community, because we have these resources right here in the neighborhood. And I think it's really important. And I loved it. I loved going to MCC. I loved the North Campus, and even when I had to drive all the way out to Elkhorn for parts of that, I like that. I even like that part. So I think it's an awesome resource school. I was working there when they built the new facilities there, and those facilities, man, you can do everything from robotics to, just everything over there. So, it's something to definitely look into. I wish that our neighborhoods were more connected to it, and then and maybe the people who won and got on the board this time can affect some change that way, just to connect it to our neighborhoods more. I'm not sure. We'll see. I know you would have if you got in there. So I'm hoping the people that are in there do.
Can I add about that Johnny Rogers scholarship too? And the thing about that is that MCC, when they give out scholarships, typically it's for the education piece. Most of the time, they don't even include the books. That Johnny Rogers scholarship also includes payment for books. So I hope people understand that it's a phenomenal scholarship.
Books are expensive.
Is Ghost asking me who's going to be on my team that I'm building?
Who from North Omaha will be on your team? Who you ask? Who you
ain't
ask?
nobody business right now until I hire people. Sorry. You'll find out though when I get done. Ghost listener. But just know that everything that I do, I'm always intentionally thinking about North Omaha and South Omaha. Always. Like that never stops.
East
so
Omaha.
When I pick people to put onto a team, trust and believe that I have evaluated them. I have looked to see what they bring to the table. And I know that they're going to be beneficial to this work. So whoever I choose, if you think that Kimara Snipes is an okay person, then trust me in my process. And whoever I bring to my team is always open to listen, to talk, to collaborate, and all of that. So trust me, everything I'm doing is with the best interest of North and South Omaha in mind.
East side?
Everything I do. East Omaha all day. East Omaha Z in the building.
There you go.
All right, before you get out of here, let us know what's good in the hood. What's going on in the neighborhoods that you were inspired by, even though we have the day that we have today.
I'm going to be down here at Scooters today, probably until noon. I have a meeting. Technically, I'm off work, but if you want to come down here and have a conversation, come holler at me. I got some t-shirts with me too. I'm happy to give you one, but you're going to have to come down and holler at me and talk to me about how we plan to stay civically engaged. I ain't just giving you some. We got to have a conversation and be really, really intentional with this. But I got a whole box full that I didn't get in time for yesterday. So that's what we're just going to do. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to get your thoughts on what we should do. Ghost, if you want to come holler at me, but you got to tell me who you are first.
That part. Like, hey, I'm Ghost.
But I'm being funny. I hope you know that. I think these are great questions. But I just want to hear from people. I want to know what you think. I believe in listening to people and taking their advice and constructive criticism and all of that. So I'm happy to have that conversation. But please find out if you have a neighborhood association. Please join it. Please. And let's organize at that level. I think that's the greatest place to start.
Yep. Gwen Easter asking in the chat, what does your t-shirt say? Could you just stand up and give us so Black Voters Matter. It's actually an organization down here in Georgia, started by a brother named Cliff Albright. So continuing the Omaha-Atlanta connection that we're so heavy on. And just to let you know, I did reach out to Brother Cliff. So, yeah. We're working. We're definitely connecting. Yeah. Come on now.
I love that.
Yeah. But so I did want to kind of finalize, as you mentioned, you will be at the Scooters. And I do urge people to go down and put together that civic engagement plan. And I'm kind of hearing
playing together today. No, this takes time, right? Because civic engagement looks different for different people. But at least let me get your information. Let's have a high level discussion and then move forward from there. This is going to be a 365-day, a whole year thing. This is year-round civic engagement.
And that's what I was going to ask. Beyond voting and, like, I guess what you mentioned, joining a neighborhood association, what does civic engagement look like, or what are some other things that can be included in someone's plan?
I did it yesterday after Culture House. I had to go to Croc Center. Canopy South is doing an ambassador program, and I did a class for them yesterday, and part of that was to talk about civic engagement. And here's my thoughts on civic engagement, right? I cannot define what civic engagement looks like for you. Civic engagement is different things for different people, because I have one person over here who may be a refugee, maybe an immigrant, can't even vote. So what is civic engagement for them? Civic engagement is different for every single person. What we have to do is talk about what that looks like for you. Civic health, though, as I've talked about before, has those three components: the civic piece, the social piece, and the political piece. So when we're joining neighborhoods, we're helping to build social ties, we're helping to build networks, we're helping to build trust. We talk about the political piece of it. We're getting out the vote. We're registering people. We're doing non-voting stuff like showing up, collecting petition signatures, whatever that is. But there are several ways that we can be involved, and there are several ways to maintain our civic health. But what civic engagement looks like for you, I can't define, but we can have a conversation and figure out what it looks like for you together.
There you go.
Love it. That's what's up. Earlier in the chat, Miss Erica Felt says, I'm so glad to see you this morning, Kimmer. I needed to hear you.
Oh, I love you, Erica.
Hey,
Ghost Listener 402 says I thought that was Preston's org. Preston's org is called Black Votes Matter out of Omaha.
Yeah.
This is a similar organization out in Atlanta called Black Voters Matter.
Preston told me, he said, I imagine when they went to go make their organization, they probably wanted Black Votes Matter, but I had already took it. And the plan is to get them together too once I finally get Cliff up here so they can have a really good conversation, connect as well.
Again, Omaha, Atlanta, we working.
Very nice. Join her down there at what we call the headquarters. If you don't know, Scooters is on 30th and Ames. It is the only Black-owned Scooters in town, and so definitely go down and purchase some drinks and some good stuff. That prickly pear juice thing they got down there is awesome. And get your coffee on and go down and have a conversation, a high-level conversation with Kimara Snipes, so we can get to keep the ball rolling, keep the conversation going. And when you have that, get yourself a T-shirt and to remind you that even though the elections are over, the fight still is continuing on, and our votes still matter, and they're going to matter coming up. So it's time to get back to work. Like she says, get on up, get back to work. Appreciate you.
My girl Precious.
Say again.
I said, better call and check on my girl Precious.
I was getting ready to suggest. We haven't heard nothing from her this morning. I'm like, I know she is worn out from last night's activities. Good idea. Give her a call. Let her know we would love to still have her on. We still got about 50 minutes in the show. So if you talk to her and she's feeling okay to come on and say a few words, tell her she's welcome. Or if not, we'll catch her next week.
Yeah.
We'll do.
Appreciate you so much, Kimara. We'll talk soon.
Peace.
Good work.
All right. Peace.
Likewise.
All right. There you go. Miss Kimara Snipes, what's good in the hood?
Hey.
Put some respect on her name. She's doing all the good work, and is really like going for it too, man. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on for sure with her. So we'll definitely check in with her a little later on. I'm glad that you guys, the chat chimers, chimed up and made her feel a little better, because I knew she was going to be having a real hard time about these results. We've been through a cycle with her before where we got some bad results, and it weighs on her because she does a lot of work.
Man,
so
she's invested.
She's heavily invested. Stay tuned. We'll take a quick break and come right back and jump into some talking about do a little house cleaning that we got to do here. There's definitely more to talk about here about this picture that has been floating around on the interwebs. That there's been some comments on when you talk about that, and also like Buddy was talking about a little earlier, what exactly is our affiliation? Since we're not a hard news group, we're a discussion group, we definitely have opinions. Where do we lie? So we'll come back and talk about some of these things and more results. If you have some more comments or thoughts about your experience voting or what's going on with these election results, let us know. Put it in the chat. Love to hear from you. Stay tuned. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. I'll be Buddy the God. Be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, my main Damie. It's going down. All of you, the chat chimers, ghost listeners, thank you for everybody that's talking to us this morning and getting up and relaying information and having conversations and keeping this thing going for sure. That's what's going on. Rome's Reviews asks, do immigrants tend to register or as Democrat? That's a good question. Not really sure what immigrants are doing these days. We need to, or Republican, we need to have some data on some of these things. I'm really interested in the data now on some of these things. When I think about like how many people in North Omaha are registered. I heard a report from Atlanta, as a matter of fact. This guy that was running for something, he got on and talked about all the registered voters that were there, but who showed up was like 10%, or 8% of that. So, and these are people that are registered, and there's a whole lot more that are unregistered. So it really comes back down to that, man. Like really, like if you really think about it, we outnumber a lot of groups, and it doesn't make any sense really to not be organized to get what the majority of people want in our government. What's the government here for if not that? So that's what's up. Thanks for joining us. It is 8:16 right now in Omaha, Nebraska. If you believe in the concept of time, and I gotta say, I just got a text from Precious. She is going to come on here in a little bit. Did you want to jump into something before we have her on, or did you want to jump into this conversation? I wanted to leave enough room for the conversation that we need to have today. So I'll jump into that unless you have some other news pieces that we want to.
Nah, man, I think this conversation is more important.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and start it off. There was a photo floating around. I posted it in Friends of First Sky Omaha. It is a photo of a bunch of people standing with Pete Ricketts. Here's the photo at Mouth in the South. I know you guys have seen it. I posted it because of the fact that I knew that First Sky Omaha Friends and Family was going to go in on it. So, but I didn't expect that everybody's going to go in on it the way they did. And I got to put it out there. I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed about it. This is a tough conversation I got to have with the chat chimers for the first time. I'm a little disappointed. We thought about it long and hard and discussed it between ourselves. And I didn't really appreciate like the comments are. Here's one thing about our chat. Our chat is the best, and it's the best chat ever, I believe, because every time I see anybody use their chat, Channel 7, we can talk about Omaha World Herald, we can talk about a lot. There's people that are just spewing stuff and calling people names on them chats all day long. There's no real constructive talk. There's like we have here. People aren't bringing facts. People aren't doing research. They're not using the chat in the right way. I feel like our group uses the chat in the right way, and we kind of figured out why. The biggest reason is because our show has a certain style, and the style that our show has is one of respect. That is the very first word that comes to mind when I think of like how it is that we're trying to have the conversations that we're trying to have. A lot of people having conversations, they're not always respectful ones. The reason why we can feel like we're all fam, and the reason why we can feel like we are learning something every time we get on here is because it's hard to learn anything when people are disrespecting you, calling you names. It's hard to learn. Since we have a pristine chat that really is a chat that's a giving chat, that's freely speaking, having information, having conversations, and being respectful in those conversations, that's the only way that we learn and get the full value out of what it is that we're doing here. So sometimes we resort a little bit to what like other people do. We fall short, make some mistakes that when it comes to that kind of thing. Sometimes it really showed me when those Republican groups came in the other day over Deb Neary. They didn't like Deb Neary. They came in very disrespectfully. I actually went back and read what those cats were saying, and some of the stuff was stuff that we could have had some genuine conversations with, but we were just dismissing them and saying get out of here. And we were just acting like you're coming here crazy, and I didn't really understand why I was feeling that way and why we were all reacting that way. And I figured out it's because they came in disrespectfully. They came in aggressively. They came in as a group. They came in kind of spewing their stuff instead of actually having conversations about it. Once they started getting shouted down by the chat chimers, then they eased up a little bit and started trying to have some kind of conversations a little bit. But by that time, it was too late. We was already mad. So me being going back and looking at that situation taught me something. It taught me that what we do here is based on respect.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. That's number one. That's the only reason why our thing, the thing that we're doing here with the chat chimers and the ghost listeners and everybody is working. The only reason why we can have productive conversation is because we have respect, and that's our style. Our style is not to be on here acting, calling people names and going off. Now we've fallen short on some of that too. I'm even rethinking about how we talk about Pete Ricketts. Even I'm rethinking it all. Because now that I realize that our whole platform is based on respect, then I feel like we got to start. We got to live that to the fullest on both sides, on everything, on all of it.
Yeah.
And so this picture floated around, and it unfortunately it infuriated a lot of people. And I'm gonna tell you right now. Like I said, I posted it thinking we would go in. My comment had to do with me rethinking some things. I got to think about what this means. Because some of my friends, some of my elders are standing here with Pete Ricketts. Well, it's not that big of a deal that they're standing here with Pete Ricketts, but what it insinuates is that they support Pete Ricketts, and maybe some of them do. Not sure. All I do know is whether Johnny Rogers in particular, who is a friend of First Sky Omaha, who's an elder of ours. Johnny Rogers is called me on many occasions asking me, whatever you guys need, man, to help you do what you do, let me know. And you can see everybody's doing the Johnny Rogers pose. This is definitely about Johnny Rogers here. He's an elder of ours, and I haven't talked to him deeply about what he believes or who he is affiliated with, but I do know I respect him, and I'm going to give him that respect. I'm going to put some respect on his name every time, because that's who he is. That's what he is. The optics of them standing here with Pete Ricketts, I definitely think it's something that we needed to talk about. We should have went in and talked about it, but I wanted us to go in and talk about it with respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel instead of doing that, what we did was went in here and start calling people coons and all kinds of stuff. Bill King is a controversial figure when it comes to our group, but Bill King is a friend of First Sky Omaha. We're a friend of 95.7 The Boss, and he's been friends. We supported each other all through the Mind and Soul days and everything.
Actually, I worked for Bill King before I even went to Mind and Soul.
Word. Bill King has a different style, but Bill King says a lot of the same things that we say. And if we can decipher some of the things, not decipher, but if we that's the wrong word, I meant to say translate, because he has a certain style, we have a certain style. If we can get our translations together, a lot of times when we think about what each other is saying, we're saying some of the same stuff. Earlier, I said that he got on his show yesterday saying that he was going to be a Republican. He started saying that's what he started with. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the Republican Party. A little later on in the show, he reiterated that he's an independent. A little later on in the show, he said he doesn't agree with everything Republicans say, doesn't agree with everything Democrats say, where he's an independent, and we all need to, and what we need to do is be independents and vote as a block. That is exactly what we have said here on this show. So even though he has a certain style, and even though there's a lot of things that we all share and believe, but even if we disagree, the one beautiful thing that we have here on this show, and when we disagree, is to have respect as we disagree. That's the way we stand out from every other show and every other chat and so on and so forth. So I would like to take this opportunity for us to all grow and dive deeper into that respect issue. And to really say that we can disagree with people without being disrespectful and calling them names and going on and on. So I'm calling out everybody that did that. I'm calling out everybody that did that. I'm calling ourselves out for how we have done that in the past with people like Pete Ricketts and everybody else. Josh, your Pete Ricketts nicknames are hilarious as hell. I will give you that. And I was fully backing those, but now I'm saying me and you, let's pull back on that. Let's pull back on that, because the only thing that we really have here is to speak respectfully and act respectfully. And we can fully disagree. Like we fully disagree with things that people in the chat chimers have said. Me and Buddy disagree a lot all the time on stuff all the time. The nature of our show, though, is respect. So I am now going to call Bill King and say, if we have offended you and being disrespectful to you, we apologize, because we are about building community here together. We're not about having separate anything. And if you feel offended by us and our group, I'm going to apologize to him for that. I'm also going to call Johnny Rogers and do the same thing. Like I said, we can if we can get back to having a civil conversation about these things, and we can go in on this picture. We can talk about how this looks, what this is. We can speak on these things, but if we're gonna speak on them, we're gonna speak on them with respect. We don't throw our brothers away. Tim Clark has done a bunch of work. Johnny Rogers, I'm just naming off the people I see in here that I know. The sister, I just posted the sister with the car company the other day about how great her business is. She's standing there in this picture too. I can't remember what her name is. I think Candace. Can't remember what her name is. My bad. But you know, the thing is, everybody's doing the Johnny Rogers pose. Johnny Rogers, the elder in our community, he has done a lot. Bill King on his show that said that Johnny Rogers is giving $1 million out in scholarships through MCC, and it's not really about what they. Like I said, it's not really about. Thank you, Kimara. Candace Price is in that picture. Okay, cool. I'll definitely. We're gonna be bringing up Precious McKesson in here in a second too. Thank you for getting up this morning. We'll bring in just a second. I just want to finish what I'm saying here on this thing. All I want to say is let's grow. Let's grow. Let's grow, and let's grow off of what it is that is making us successful. Respect. No, we've come up with the phrase. We have put respect on people's names in Omaha. We borrowed that phrase in order to put respect on people's name in a real way, and that's really why. I see people that are chiming in the chat. I'll get to you in a second here for that. But yes, I can vehemently disagree with people. Yes, even Tony Connor. I'm seeing that. Tony Connor too. And Precious has been a beautiful example of that. She does. It's obvious that she's not with this dude Tony Connor, but she never comes in here and goes all the way off. Does it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we see that there's ways to sometimes you gotta shake your head about people, but that doesn't mean throw them away. That doesn't mean alienate them by calling them names and going in and going off.
Because how you ever gonna get to the bottom?
Brother King said we have elders in our group that called him a coon. We've had preachers in our group that's called him a coon. We got, he went down the list and felt that this is what was happening. And was and we know that Bill King gets emotional about stuff and rises up, but this time a little bit our fault. So I felt a little ashamed of that our group went in the way they did. And it caused some division in the Black community. If we didn't cause no division with the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation when we left, we ain't gonna start causing no division now.
That part
in the community. So there you go. I'm gonna jump into a couple of comments, and then we'll bring Precious on real quick. Josh Tague in particular, I appreciate that. He says, I agree that we got to be as respectful as possible. Ricketts is on a whole nother plane for me, though. The comedy I use helps me from saying what I really feel about him as a politician and the person. Fully agree, bro. I fully agree with you. But there is from now on though, I would like us to speak publicly, respectfully.
Yeah.
Now, when I come over your house, we have a couple beers. We can call them whatever names we want to call them in private. But what I'm saying is that just I would like to keep this air of respect. Miss Erica Phelps says you can respectfully tell someone that they're harmful and don't want to smile with them. Respect doesn't mean be fake. Not trying to be fake.
That part.
Not smiling in nobody's face. Not at all. As a matter of fact, if I feel concerned because I see some brothers of mine and some elders of mine that are posing with this dude that I don't agree with, I'll go to the brothers and say, hey, what's up with that? That's respect. Us talking that way.
I would actually like to have Ricketts on the show to have a conversation.
We've had Ricketts on the show before when we were on Mind and Soul. We did have a conversation with him, and I really, really appreciate the fact that even when we had him on the show at Mind and Soul, we had him on. We didn't agree with nothing he was saying. Still acted respectful. Nobody should ever be able to say that we're being disrespectful to anybody ever. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. I want to give Precious some time. It is 8:28 right now. If you believe in the concept of time. Gwen Easter has a long diatribe. Yeah. I love it. I love it, man. Gwyneth had a lot to say. I love when Gwyneth.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And she doesn't always agree with us, like her lack of support for Deb Neary, but we appreciate how she voices that her points.
That's the difference. That's the difference. The Republicans that came in disrespectfully, aggressively, were saying the same thing that Gwen Easter was saying, but Gwen Easter came in with respect saying it. She came in actually having a conversation, wanting to talk about it, putting her thoughts out there so we can have thoughts back. We couldn't get to that point with the Republicans that came in here because they came in here aggressively and disrespectfully and ridiculous.
Dictating without any support of why they're saying what they're saying.
And I'm proud of the Chad Chimers that kind of shouted them down. And because when they did shout them down, the Republicans simmered down a little bit and then really tried to bring some points out. And we could have had a conversation with them at that point, but we were already too mad at that point. So it is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and bring Precious in, and definitely go back and take a look at the chats. You guys are awesome. You guys are jumping in and saying some great things. But anyway, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put some respect on her name, Precious McKesson, history making P.
Hey,
good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. And you say you have some background on that picture. One of your best friends is in that. Speak on it.
Yeah. So one of my best friends, Melinda's in the picture, and when I saw the picture, I called her and I got background on it, and I asked her what the picture was, what was going on. And then I'd asked her, I said, but y'all was in, and she corrected me. I didn't know Mouth of the South had a location downtown.
Yeah, it's just brand new.
Yeah. So it was down. So they were in the community. They were not in Millard. A lot of people had their facts wrong, said that they were in Millard. And the photo that they took is a lot of those people that people don't know are in some type of business in North Omaha doing work. And she heavily does work in, and I'm not gonna tell you where she works at, but people don't know what she does. But there's a lot of people that are in their home still because of her. That's all I'm gonna say. I asked her, and I respect my friends. My friends know how I feel about Pete Ricketts, and I kind of made a joke, and I said, I told her, I said, girl, if Pete Ricketts come, that's a photo op for him, and then I have to give respect to Johnny Rogers. People don't understand what Johnny Rogers has given back and what he does at Metro for so many kids, and the fact that they're doing now. It would have been different if they would have been doing the fist.
Right.
That would have been, but they were doing the Johnny Rogers pose. I mean, that's the Heisman Trophy pose, and so that's a winning pose.
It wasn't even about Pete Ricketts. It was about Johnny Rogers.
And he just happened to be in the picture, so I saw the attacks, I saw the comments, and I was like, I had to keep myself from saying stuff because there's a lot of people that was commenting who don't have no leg to stand on. They don't do a lot in this community. They don't have results. They don't have no wins behind them. And not saying that you have to have a win behind you to be accepted, but it's like at least have something behind you to say, hey, have something solid behind you, and you can say this is what you do instead of, I just feel like people be, and I made a stat that people be capping for the wrong people. Capping for the wrong people. Cap for me that I lost and I finished, not cap for me and I lost and I quit.
Right. But I gotta say, like, even the people that ain't doing nothing, they still got all the right to chime up around here for sure. Just do it respectfully. I'm talking about a style more than I'm talking about the substance of what they want. I want them to do it respectfully. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they don't understand, like, people, if you get to know the people in the picture, like, honestly, I only know a few people in that picture. So the other people, I don't even know who that is. I know Tim, Bill King, Candace. I'm trying to think who else is in there. Oh, Cameron Cameron is in there. Cameron Gales. I think it's Gales. Yeah, Cameron Gales is in there. Oh, my brother Jamie's in that picture.
Is that Kenny McMorris behind? Kenny McMorris behind?
That might be Kenny McMorris right there. No, I don't know. Because I've never seen Kenny in tennis shoes. So I don't know. And my brother Jamie's in that picture. That's my brother and sister. That's my, I call my brother because that's my siblings is his siblings, So these are good people in this picture. I didn't even realize Jamie was back there. But these are good people, And the fact that, maybe if we just took our time to kind of get to know them. Tim Clark, I was just on Tim Clark's show a couple of weeks ago. He called me. He was like, hey, we're doing a show on politics. I really want you to come on, and it was on a YouTube channel. We got to realize, like, what are people doing in the community and how they're giving back before we throw them away. But again, we can be respectful. Everybody knows how I feel about Tiptoe Tony, and I mean, I stand on that. There's certain things that he does and say, but I'm gonna call him my little nicknames, but I'm not gonna get out here and be like, when people were trying to get me, there was people during the campaign that was trying to get me to post, his domestic violence stuff, trying to get me to post the call, sending me inboxes and stuff. I wasn't about to do that. I mean, I had one that went as far and was like, hey, can you call and do a welfare check on his wife because we're concerned. Now, why would I do that? And then gave me the address. Why would I do that? There's some people and these are people that don't look like me. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to get it together, regardless of how I feel about that man. And like I responded to them in that email. I understand how you feel, but I'm very confident that man is not gonna do nothing to harm his family, especially with him knowing that the media is on him. It's like, I'm gonna need people to find some business. So just know, we gotta just be able to pick up the phone and call people and talk to them. But I saw the comments, but I didn't comment because I said I got a source. I called the person in the picture.
Yeah, like Ghost Listener 402 says, not everybody is accessible to others like they are to you. True, but you can always hit us up and we can get a hold of whoever anytime. I mean, you can get a hold of whoever anytime, really, if you really want to talk to folks. But
William King has a radio show. I'm not saying, and this is not, and again, I just want to say this: I'm not out here attacking nobody of accessibility. I'm just speaking what's my opinion and my feelings and how I feel and how I roll. I'm not telling that you have to do it that way.
Yeah, and I want everybody who I consider a chat chimer and friend of First Sky Omaha, all of us, to feel free to do that, to feel free to tell us about how you feel and so on and so forth. I'm just talking about the style.
Yeah, don't feel free to disrespect others.
We have a certain style, bro, and we've narrowed down what our style is based on. It's based on respect. Period.
And I agree. And I agree, Paul, on that. Some people may not pick up the phone for everybody. But hey, this is my thing. Use your network. If you see something and you be like, wait a minute, I saw something. You can call me. You can ask me. I have no problem with finding out trust me. I will call and find out like, well, hey, somebody said this was going on and they sent this. Can you give me some context on it? I have no problem with doing that. But I do understand there is times when people will say things to certain people or not, or say anything. But I just gotta, I know Bill King does a lot, and Bill King goes on his tangents when he gets upset, but then but I feel when people have feelings too, people have feelings too, and that's how I had to look at it. But but everybody knows how I feel about P. Ricketts. They know how I feel about P. Ricketts ever since he said that comment, and I had an elder literally try to tell me. When I asked, I said, I don't know how we got on this conversation. And the elder was like, what do you mean? And I was like, dude, I was in the room with you. He was like, he forgot that I was in the room when Pete Ricketts said what he said. I was like, I was in the room.
With all that you people stuff he was talking
about. Yeah. And he was like, oh, no, don't backtrack now, bro. I was in there with you. I know what that man said. Hey, but it's like we can't throw away, just because people are associated with Pete Ricketts doesn't mean that they have a bad heart. Doesn't mean that they're a bad person. I question, if you're associated with Pete Ricketts, you need to use your voice and your leverage to talk about the issues that he is doing against Black and brown people, and always make that on the forefront of the conversation.
I look at it like this. Some people decide that we need to have conversations amongst ourselves and our family and come up with the language that we need to go battle. Some people feel like you got to be in the room to make some change, and I believe both are needed. Yep. And if and so the bottom line is, this is a brother who is in North Omaha, has been doing stuff in North Omaha. If we're talking about William King right now, he's been doing things for a while, and even if he wasn't doing nothing, he's a brother out here in North Omaha with us. We disagree on a whole lot sometimes. Most of the time, though, you dig deep on the stuff that he's saying and we're saying the same stuff. We are all right. You're in the Democratic Party. I've been an independent from the jump. He goes back and forth talking about Republicans and Democrats all the time. He's basically an independent too, and he talks about us voting.
He's a Democrat.
So like I said, he yesterday on his show he said he was going to change to the Republican Party in the beginning of the show. But in the middle of the show, he changed back to I'm gonna just be independent because his point was, he says things sometimes I think to shake things up, and I think, but his ultimate point is we should all be voting as a block.
Yes.
And we fully agree. So no matter how he comes across, and listen, you guys ought to know, I put Williams King's show on Friends of First Sky all the time. That he's a partner of ours, he's a friend of First Sky Omaha, and even though we have different styles, because really we just only have different styles. That's all we got. Don't want to keep going on and on and on about this subject, but I think I put it out there, and I think that hopefully that you guys are hearing what we're saying on this. I did not like how we came across. I'm definitely going to go talk to Brother King. I'm definitely going to go talk to Johnny Rogers and make some apologies, because I don't like how we went in on calling folks names and doing all that. I'm not putting myself I'm putting myself in there too, because I've been guilty of it too. And now it's made me think, and that the whole incident with the Republicans coming in and attacking damn near all these events of the past week has made me think about what our show is based on, why we're winning. Nobody's able to have respectful conversation anywhere. Everybody is all just shouting their dogmatic views to each other all throughout the country and the world right now. We might be one of the only places that can have a respectful, calm conversation where you can voice your thoughts and not get demonized for saying what you're saying and all that. Anybody that comes in here with that kind of attitude always gets shut down by us, because they don't fit. They don't fit here. So I want to keep us in check too. If we're doing some things that are like that too, if we see something, we comment on it. People come in and they can see our comments. And if we're commenting on stuff and being disrespectful to the elders or anybody else, I thank the elders for allowing me to speak every end of the show. So I'm not going to do that on one side of my mouth, and the other side of my mouth call him a coon or anything. Call him anything. As a matter of fact, if an elder is doing something, sometimes I'll stop and be like, well, let me think about why, even though I don't agree, let me think about why. If this elder decides to do it, he got to know more than me somewhere. Let me figure it out. So again, Johnny Rogers has been a friend of the show. He's been a friend of First Sky Omaha, friend of Mine and Soul, friend of Malcolm X. He's been an elder. He's called us several times, like, hey, if you guys need anything, let me know. And he's done a lot for the community. And even if none of that was true, he's a black man in Omaha, Nebraska, who is our elder. And if he's doing everything that seems wrong to us, let's go ask him about it instead of call him names and so on and so forth. So I'll leave it there and drop it there, buddy. If you have anything to add to that, because you're part of this too, like me and you are the ones that figured out this show is based on respect, period.
Yeah. I mean, I more so just want to address, like Ghost Listener 402 saying too much respect, not enough heat, no change coming from the breeze. Like I understand that, but there's like Paul is saying, there's a style to do that, and being disrespectful at any level is not going to get anything done. All it's going to make is people defensive, and they're not going to listen to whatever you're trying to say because they're defending themselves from whatever insults you're hurling at them. Whether it's true or not, it's not productive. It's not productive. And that's what we're talking about, is actually having a conversation. And again, I would love to have Pete Ricketts on the show so I can hear from him why he thinks marijuana is going to kill the kids. I would like to hear from him that. He's not going to come if we're calling them names.
I mean, it's not even like that. It's like it's like this. We're going to bring the heat. But you can bring the heat you can bring the heat in a different style. You can face people and you can ask questions directly. And we can do it just like how we do with each other all the time when we disagree here on the show.
Right.
So, yeah. And we've reached out. We haven't reached out to Pete Ricketts this year of doing First Sky Omaha. Like I said, we spoke to him in the Mind and Soul days and did exactly that. Brought him on the show, asked him some hard questions. So anyway, moving on from that, thank you. Linda in Chicago says, I can be civil, but respect is earned. And Ricketts has done a lot to suppress voices of the less fortunate. I looked at this photo and wondered what his motivation is based on his action or inactions. All true. We agree. We agree with you for sure. And I'm not talking about giving. I'm saying be respectful in your style. I'm not saying that a person doesn't earn respect, doesn't get respect, but that doesn't mean for you to be disrespectful. That doesn't mean for me to be disrespectful. I don't respect him or anything that he's about. But that doesn't mean I need to act as a disrespectful human being towards him or anybody else.
I'll put it like this: to be civil is to respect someone's humanity. We're not honoring Pete. We don't honor Pete Ricketts. That's different. but we respect his humanity as a human.
Yeah, I love us to reflect that in the way that we interact. We like I said, we already do it amongst ourselves. Let's do it with the outside world too. Right. Erica Feld is saying, Precious, do you know what voter ID will look like for early mail-in voting?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we got to get to asking you about these election results.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, we politicking with P, so
it's too early to say. It's too early to say, and I just want to first let me just say, I had time to look at the numbers. I hadn't really looked, because I know that there was another round of numbers last night that came out after. It was like 12:20, but then I know there was some others that came out. First, I just want to say to everybody who put their name on the ballot that I appreciate them. It is very hard, and I don't want to get emotional, but it's very hard to put your name into a field where people are going to attack you based on your views, where people are going to make lies against you. And every single person that went on there, they put their name on there, and they didn't put their name on there just to be a clout raiser or to be, they just, I want to be this. They did it because they believe in change and they believe in democracy. What hurts across the nation right now is the fact that we had January 6th happen. And then you had over like tons, hundreds and thousands of people, election deniers on ballots across the United States. And the fact that people believe these people, the fact that millions of people voted for Herschel Walker, it hurts. But let me focus on I haven't even debriefed with our team yet here. Tony ran a hell of a race. Senator Vargas ran a hell of a race. I hope and pray that the Republicans are sitting back today and thinking of ways of now, because you still got to work with us. You still got to work with us. And many of those Republicans lied. We now have a sheriff who I honestly don't feel is fit for the job.
That's right. Greg Gonzalez lost the race.
I just don't. And I do also want to point out, and I say this because Carol Blood, many people don't know like the work that goes behind the scenes and how I have to keep track of money that's coming in, money that's being sent out, mailers, vote by mail, all of that stuff that y'all receive, that comes from our office. We have to raise money for that, those slate cards, all of that. And Carol Blood, if you go back and look at any of the gubernatorial races, if you go back with Chuck Hasselbrook, Bob Christ, Carol got more votes than them. Carol had more response than them, and they had millions. They had tons of money, and Carol had less than $1 million, y'all. Jim Pillen would get up and debate her, and people still went out there. I look at Dave Pantos's numbers. People voted against Dave Pantos. They voted for everybody else, but when it came to Dave Pantos, they skipped it and voted for Don Klein.
Wow.
It's a lot to take in. It's a lot. Ricketts put $3.5 million into races throughout Nebraska. And he did that. And this is the thing, y'all, he didn't do that to the Republican Party. He created his own political action committee and funneled money to those candidates through there. He didn't give to the Republican Party. He invested individually into the candidates. And it goes back, a lot of this, when we go back to the drawing board, a lot of it goes back to, talking to the national organizations. They have to invest. You cannot just worry about the battleground states. You have to invest in these red states, because these red states, if we get a investment, we can play. We can pay. I mean, it's horrible that you have to pay to play,
Right.
But we see it in the numbers. You got to put money into it. And so it's bittersweet this morning is bittersweet as an executive director, because you work so hard, you sit there, you want to figure it out. It's sad for the campaigns who put so much. So to the campaign workers, I say thank you to them, to the organizers, the volunteers, to the ones who knocked on the doors. Because those are who win the votes. Those people who are knocking doors and making phone calls, sending text messages, any way that you've contributed to a campaign, donations or whatever, you can do that. And so it's a lot. So,
well, we appreciate all the work that you do, of course, the hard work that you do. And we didn't bug you this morning. We figured that you come on if you felt like it, because it's the day after is a lot to carry. We're still getting results in, so but some of the ones that we already got in, it was a little disheartening a little bit. So it was tough, but the chat chimers chimed up this morning and brought some positives to light and kind of lifted the mood a little bit, and I really appreciate the chat chimers for doing that. But I appreciate you coming on here and giving us the reality of everything, and giving us the backstory too. Like that's one thing that you actually mentioned, some things that have been encouraging, is that it wasn't a clean sweep. These races were close, real close, because people put in the work and did the thing.
And look at the numbers. I mean, Don Bacon got beat in Douglas County. Tony Martin in Douglas County.
There you go.
Look at the numbers. So then you start to think about what happened with redistricting. So his vote most likely came from that Sarpy and that Saunders County. Remember, they redistrict, but he didn't win Douglas County. He did not win Douglas County. And that's where that's a big, but you have those people to pull out, and people, then they come out to vote. They come out. And again, these are the same people who have never held Trump accountable. These are the same people who have never, it's so much, it's so much. Being there last night with Carol Blood, I'm glad I was there with her in her campaign. And able to give her that hug and tell her she did a great job, because she did, y'all. Like, she did. And it's I'm not saying I don't care about no, but that one right there hurts the most for me, because she's a woman and she put her life on the line to run for governor against a pig farmer, a hog farmer who has millions and millions of dollars, and he has spewed so much hate along with Pete Ricketts. And the fact that she didn't win that, but I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her, because she was able to talk to people from North Omaha to Scottsbluff, Nebraska. She covered this state on the little bit of money that she had. And we got to talk to these national, the Democratic governors committee. We got to start talking to them, and they got to stop forgetting about Nebraska. They got to stop that. We have good people. We can be there. We can change the state, but you got to invest, and they got to stop. It's like the good old boys, and I'll say that. I'll say that. And it's just, and so the next morning you wake up and you just rethink. You just sit back and you be like, man, do I stay in this and keep fighting for this? Because people just don't show up to vote. But now we gonna have to now we got to worry about our access to healthcare and what we can and can't do with our bodies. Now you got to make sure that you got an ID to go and vote. Like, it's voter suppression. Not only is it voter suppression, it's voter suppression, and it's like, basically, it's like I just feel like we just went back. Like, everything that John Lewis and everybody, what they were and what they did, it's like,
yeah, but I feel your pain, and I feel like you actually, this I could definitely go down that rabbit hole, go down that feeling, but even what you're talking about, even the way you're feeling right now, you're reminding me that the fight continues, and we're gonna drop off here for a day or two and feel what we feel, go through what we go through. But then when it turns around, it'll give us even more fire for the next time around. I feel
2
like.
years. Got 2 years.
Just jumping in the chat real quick. Whitney Richardson says, I'm still glad that I was able to cast my vote for Vargas, Blood, Pantos, and the others, especially after having Blood and Pantos on this show. I don't feel like it's over for any of them. Somebody else says, I hope they run again. Yeah, Erica Felt. Also, Linda Chicago says, thank you for all you do, all you did and do, Precious. We saw you and it's appreciated. Also, Brother Valentine says, Carol Blood for Governor May, Bellevue proud. That's what's up. Whitney Richards says, thank you for all your hard work, Precious. Sending you lots of love today. Definitely want to feel that way. Josh takes it. What bothers me is that once these people get into office, they don't care a bit about the phone calls, letters, petitions, anything else that come from concerned citizens. There is no holding their feet to the fire. They have fireproof boots on. They scoff at our concerns. Well, we need to turn the heat up then, because we.
Can I just say this one thing about it, y'all? We still got Carol Blood in the Senate in the U.S. and the legislature for 2 more years, so she don't hold pill into the fire. So he didn't get away that he didn't want to debate her publicly, but she will be ready to take him down on that legislature floor. Any bills that he tried to pass, so he didn't get away. He didn't get away smooth because he still got to face her. He still got to face Carol Blood.
There you go.
You just lifted my spirits up again. That's what's up.
Yeah. Again, we got 2 years, man. Like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And if we don't do anything for the next 2 years, you think it's gonna get better?
Tony's still down there. Senator Vargas is still down there. Carol's still down there. Man, Megan is down there still. Michaela, Indy.
Yeah, that's right. Megan Hunt won. That's what's up.
You know, we just got a lot, you know, and I ain't gonna Wayne, McKinney. And you know, I ain't gonna lie, it hurts, y'all. But I got a few days to lick my wounds, and still just keep going. I mean, people don't know we got an election coming up, a mayoral election in Lancaster County in Lincoln. Lancaster, so they start accepting early vote by mail requests December 5th. We don't get we back in there. We back in there. It's time.
Like Kimara said, 365.
Yeah, so we're the team last night when I looked over, I said, what? We do? You know, because I didn't think about that, you know. But I get to, you know, in a couple of weeks, I get to go and join my other executive directors of the Democratic parties, and we can have our moment and we can sit in a room and cry. We got some good wins. Nationally, Westmoreland, Maryland is now the governor. We got some good wins throughout, y'all. We're not gonna, but we're gonna be okay. But it's just it hurts when you it hurts and you see these candidates put so much on the line, and not when they put on the line, but when people come back and start attacking them, and you know, and there's people in the community that you know, we'll have a conversation, maybe we won't. But I hope and pray. I pray for their organization. They thrive with these people being in office, and I hope they get all the donations they want. Because at this point, I don't think they will. I feel like, you know, I feel they was used as this voice. But my thing is that I'll say this, and maybe this is what I'll end with. Fannie Lou Hamer and Shirley Chisholm will be ashamed. There's certain people in this community that can't put them 2 women names in their mouth, and they doing the opposite and they working with the opposition. Okay?
Ooh. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth, shame the devil. You can't work with the opposition, and you screaming Fannie Lou Hamer and Shirley Chisholm on one end. You can't do that. So I always tell people, them 2 women will be ashamed to know that we have certain women in this community acting the way they do, and they use their name in vain. And you won't on my watch.
No.
So I hope your organization thrives. I hope you get all of the abundance of donations of whatever you get. But make sure when you getting that, make sure you actually doing the work for the people that you're supposed to be serving. And don't make them jump through hurdles the same way that the other folks make them jump through hurdles. That's what I don't get. But again, we a day after the election. I can now go petty now.
All right. All right.
I took a lot of hits this election. I took a lot of hits. I took a lot of hits and I remained graceful. And I'm gonna tell you why I remained graceful. I remained graceful for our candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I remained graceful as a Black woman, but trust and believe I wanted to let it all out. But I'm going to make some phone calls and there's going to be some one-on-ones because I'm not going to do the Facebook back and forth. Either you going to come to me and we going to sit down and talk about it, or you going to shut up.
That's
because
respect.
That's respect. So I'm going to give you that opportunity to have that one-on-one. But again, what I won't allow is for you to use two women's name in history and you working with the ops. You can't do that.
9 o'clock right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on. Really, really powerful words as always, and we can't do it without you. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll speak more on all these things next week for sure.
Yep. And if you know what candidate, y'all, give them a shout out. Send them a text message. The ones who won, give them a congratulations. The ones who didn't cross that finish line, well, they crossed the finish line. They just didn't come in first place. They got second place.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, make sure you give them give them some love and encourage them to run again. Encourage them to be who they are and let them have some self-care. But let them know we still got 2024 coming. And if we didn't think that this midterm didn't show us nothing, baby, we got 2 years to prepare. So I guess we got to get in the gym and get ready.
All right.
Especially with Trump coming back.
Man.
All right, have a good one, man. Yeah.
Peace.
All right, we'll see you next week. We appreciate you. She got out. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. We're definitely gonna get out of here. We'll save the haps for Friday.
Yep.
Just want to jump back in the chat real quick. Cheryl Weston in the chat a little earlier says we want people to engage and then we chastise them for the way in which they do. It is all right to give respect, but if you do not know how to respect, you can't give respect. Very true. She also says many people might know that what William King has or has not done. Just because I would not call a person a coon, I am not going to say that those who use the word are wrong. It was their opinion. Wanted to address that real quick because of what we were talking about a little earlier about showing respect. We are not here to try to chastise anybody. Definitely would want you to be able to voice whatever opinion you have, and y'all grown. Say what you want. I'm just saying that what we want to try to represent here is based on respect, and how we want to deal with people is based on them. Like Buddy said a little earlier, the respect, give them respect of being a human being, and let's figure out a more enlightened way to disagree and to engage and to keep the heat on them, and to have real time, real talk conversations.
Yeah, I mean, you converse and you hold them accountable for their, you just hold each other accountable, but you can do that with respect.
Do us a favor, go back into the chat and read. There's a lot of chat going on today. A lot of people's feelings. I didn't really get to Jillian posts stuff about Jim Pillen, how she's been. It's incredibly scary that we have Pillen as a governor, and so on and so forth. Please go back and read the chats and get to know your fellow chat chimers and their feelings. And understand what's going on here. Really appreciate everybody that joined into the chat today and that put up with me, what it is that I had a problem with today. I appreciate you guys giving me the grace to be able to speak those things and to hopefully help our show get even more refined. With that said, buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah, I do want to acknowledge a comment that Pops made. We're getting a little parental love in the chat. He says, Deanna Simmons McGaw, we have sons that we were blessed with and proud of. They're making a difference. Buddy and Paul are on it. So I just wanted, that kind of got me choked up a little bit, man. That's all I'm trying to do is make moms proud, man. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Pops, for sure. We just had on a private conversation me and Buddy had yesterday. We just said we come from good families, and that's the reason why we blah blah blah. So we giving you praise on air and off air all the time too. So we really appreciate both you, Pops, and Mama God coming on the show, and everybody else that we consider fam as well.
Yeah.
Really appreciate everybody for sure.
Definitely. And I will end the show the way I started the show as far as in regards to voting, man. It's not the end all be all, man. We got 2 years to get ready to vote, but also let's raise some money so we can actually support the people who we're trying to vote for. It's not just about the voting. Yes, it does not cost anything to spread, information and word of mouth, but there are things that do cost as far as gas and getting them, to where they got to go. And so let's actually put some money together and support what we're trying to support. So yeah, with that said, thank y'all. We appreciate all the chat chimers, all the ghost listeners, first time listeners, last time listeners. Saw some names that we haven't seen in a while. So welcome back. We love and appreciate everybody, man. Put love first. The rest will sort itself out. So with that, man, take care of yourselves. Catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, take it away.
Shout out to Kimara Snipes for getting up so early with us today and engaging, and also Precious McKesson. Both of these women have done so much work so hard in these campaigns that I did not really expect that they were going to be able to even get up this morning and get on, but they did, because as Rich says, Linda in Chicago says, decompress and chat. That's what we needed today. So we couldn't have done it without them two ladies. Really appreciate them very much. Mark Manor in the chat says, thanks to all of you all for allowing these conversations and for giving us access to information. Thank you, man. Can't do it without you. Can't do it without you joining in. So we appreciate it. Pop says, tremendous show. The level of quality and substance is incredible. Thank you. See you all on Friday. Appreciate you, Pops. Thank you very much. Also, Whitney Richardson, instead of name calling, you talk about what they did or didn't do. I like those. That's what I'm talking about. That's well said in one phrase. That's why you're the bomb, Whitney Richardson. Appreciate you. Erica Fell says, thank you, everyone. I needed this show. Please drink water. Be good to yourselves. Tomorrow is coming. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's what's up. That's what's up. Pop says, thank you, guys. You take care of yourself too, Miss Erica Felt. We'll check in with you, see how you're doing and what's going on with you. Please go back and check out Gwen Easter's post. We can't read it all because we got to get out of here. But thank you very much for all your thoughts, and everybody that's chiming into the chat. Please go back, watch the show in its entirety on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, while we're still on Twitter for the moment. So yeah, and definitely go check out the chats, not just the show, but the chats. That's where everybody's really sharing things, sharing their feelings. Not about us, it's about all of us. That's all, everybody that's in the chat chiming up too. That conversation can't happen without you. So thank you very much. Josh Tate says, much love to all of you. Much love to you, bro. Mama God says, love you, man. First Sky fam. Love you too, Mama God, for sure. Yes. And I really appreciate everybody that's jumped in. Definitely go back and check chats out. I want to give thanks to the Omaha Tribe elders, who we will be speaking to tonight at the Benson Theater for the movie Rhymes for Young Ghouls. As you can see, Lavelle Wells will be there, Sarah Leigh Harlan, Grace Johnson, Calvin Harlan, who's an elder of the Omaha Tribe, and they will be there tonight for this showing at 7:00. It's called Rhymes for Young Ghouls. It's rated R, so if you want to bring a kid, just understand that they're gonna have some scenes. But a powerful film by a Native American filmmaker, and definitely come check this out and have the talk back later with the elders. I can't wait to talk to them again and let them know how the show is going, since they gave us a blessing to do the show. So shout out to the Omaha Tribe elders that allow us to be on this land and speak before them. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them, and shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. We really appreciate you. Can't even tell you how much. It's all good. So we'll with that said, if you can tell a friend, share the show. If you're on Facebook, share the show. If you're on YouTube, let more people see this, hear this, and understand where we're going, what we got going on for sure. And I will get back to you Friday after I have reached out to William King and to Brother Johnny Rogers and have some conversations with them, and hopefully we can mend whatever divisions we happen to cause by how things went down. Again, this is not a chastisement. This is just an acknowledgement that we realize our show is based in respect, and that's really our superpower. And we'd like to keep it that way. And we want to just make sure that we all stay on point on that. That's really the only way that we can keep some unity around here. When it comes to unity, we are always going to side with unifying up with our brothers, even if we disagree with what they have to say. We just have to find a different style of disagreement.
Yep.
And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I done talked myself into now I got to go take a nap. So you guys have a good one. We'll see you Friday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the Red